Let's start off with a question. What's Pennsylvania's nickname? Is it the Liberty State, the Keystone State, or the Constitution State? I'll give you a moment. This beautiful state is where Cap and Braids spent their 8th anniversary. Located 7 hours north of us, we got it into our heads to sojourn to 3 locales in 6 days. Lancaster, Pennsylvania in the first 3 days, Fort Ritchie, Maryland on the 4th day, and Gettysburg, Pennsylvania in the last 2. And even though COVID substantially changed our anniversary plans this year, again, Braids adapted our calendar so we still got to see Pennsylvania parks, some signs of the Amish, the Sight and Sound Theater, a wolf preserve, a murder mystery train ride, 2 great bed and breakfasts, an historic military base, and enough Civil War battlefields to satisfy a history buff. Pennsylvania, by the way, is called the Keystone State because it is smack dab in the middle of the original 13 colonies. Pennsylvania is known for its Liberty Bell, Declaration of Independence, handmade pretzels, one American president, and its Quaker origins. In fact, its Society of Friends founder, William Penn, named the colony after his father and the Latin word Sylvania, which means woodlands. To this day, more than half the state is covered in trees. Bet you didn't know that. But enough about the state. Let's tune in to see us after our first day of travel. Ready, set, and go. So here we are inside of an Avis hotel room, and pretty cool place. This is in Pennsylvania, and this is the first day of our trip, of our 8th anniversary. I gotta say, it's pretty nice. Very eventful, though, for this trip. We're actually leaving 2 days after we had planned to because of COVID. First time in 3.5 years it hit us last week. We dropped off Calvin this morning, and I drove most of the way, but we were able to enjoy listening to some audio tracks, suspense radio, and also Dracula versus Sherlock Holmes, pretty good. And also at the beginning of a Guy Gabriel Kay book, Under Heaven. From here, I was able to drive over to CVS to pick up some chest cold medication and to pick up some dinner at Yuzu Asian Cuisine here at Lancaster. We had a delicious dinner indoors and hunkered down for the night. The next morning, after sleeping in, a workout, and a continental breakfast, we got to exchange cards, as today, June 14th, was our anniversary, 8 years since our wedding day. And then we were off to some outdoor seating at the Agape Cafe. Best coffee Braids has had in our travels yet. We're off to tour a park and then off to Sight and Sound Theater to see Moses. So you can see Braids walking off, leaving me in the background. We're here at the JC Park, a place that the waitress that we were just served at this diner recommended it to us. This is a place she said she grew up, and yeah, we definitely drove past a lot of really beautiful Lancaster downtown estates, old homes, and really beautiful, scenic, I might say quaint domiciles. This is all a sports park. JC Park is. My wife's hair is about the longest that it's going to be for a long time, and I get to have this pleasant sight as we're walking through this park adjoining to the JC Park. Look everyone, it's milkweed. It's pretty nice to be able to walk through on a nice sunny day where it used to be rainy. Your best girl on your arm. And to see different fauna. So far we've seen red-winged blackbird, Braids is identified by the sound and the sight of it, and a rabbit that just poked its head out, hopped back into the brush. It's really beautiful out here. See what I mean? Braids said being around so many local examples of flora that resembled Indiana made her feel like she was at home. It's cool. Afterward, we got a Equal tour of Lancaster's library. So here we are at the Sight and Sound Theater, right outside of Ross, Pennsylvania. We're here to see Moses. Tickets were $150 for the two of us. We bought them 2 months ago. Yep, so we're about to go inside. Although I've been impressed with the music that we've been able to listen to.
Okay.
Yep. So we're here for a 3 o'clock performance, and we had to get here at 2:15 in order to see it. We're in the almost the front row balcony seats. No filming, photography, or recording is allowed during the performance, but during intermission, we got to debrief about the performance so far. So this is what we look like without the double masks on inside that place. Wow, what did you think? This is intermission, by the way, right now. So 20-minute intermission they have after an hour's worth of performance and 6 scenes. And now we got 6 more scenes that we're about to see.
Roughly.
But initial thoughts, seeing as this is the first Sight and Sound theater we've ever had, highly recommended by your friend Meredith, right?
Yep.
What did you think?
I was saying my parents and the Proctors would eat this up with a spoon. This is definitely right up their alley. Really impressive singing. Like, yeah. And I mean, everything is very impressive. The effects, the sets, everything is extremely elaborate. The animals running around on stage.
Yeah, we had goats, horses,
sheep,
mice, a mouse.
I think that was a...
No, really, it was a mouse. Check it out in the brochure.
Oh, really?
Yeah. Their
camels, alley. Donkeys, and an alpaca. That's what I've seen so far.
Wow. Acting and animals. What about the set?
Set design is intense, especially my favorite is there's a treadmill set in the stage, and it rotates as the projected view rotates, so you can see the person going through the desert or whatever it might be. Very, very, can't imagine how much that's, like, I see now why the tickets are so expensive.
yeah. So this performance goes on for 9.5 months, at least. And that's what I'm led to believe based on the next production, which is Daniel, coming out in March of next year. But show fact, Mount Sinai, it weighs more than 26,985 pounds.
I guess that stage must have, like, massive supports underneath. We can't wait too long because we're getting...
I know. The curtain is...
Multiple curtains.
Yeah, right. Like, you'll look over to your right and you'll be like, oh, they've built a new set.
There's another stage over there.
Are we rotating, or is it this? No, okay, it's the screens, but it really does give you the feel of traveling. That's pretty impressive. And so you have the set design, the acting, the wardrobe is impressive. Over 16,000 fasteners that they use for their costumes.
How many people are in it? Does it say?
I don't know, but
it's a lot.
I'm clocking it at like 150 minimum here.
Some look like they're being reused.
Oh, of course.
Yeah.
I mean,
I'm gonna take one more cops here. If that's
okay. Yeah. Thanks, guys. After the second half of the Sight and Sound theater performance, which was amazing, which we were also late for, we finally drove through some really beautiful countryside in order to arrive here. This is the Lancaster. It is a gorgeous bed and breakfast. Yes, it actually has breakfast that is served right here, in fact, in the morning. And we are on the 3rd floor. All of the rooms have nice names, including ours. Always like this look. Good decoration. We were just thinking about what the highlights of that production was, and that is a lot to choose from. I mean, you got Moses is fleeing from Egypt into Midian, and how the scenery changes as he's running. So you got the treadmill and the lights and the scene, the digital scene changing around. That was phenomenal. You had the plagues of Egypt, where every god of Egypt fell when the animal that represented
That
it,
god,
was hit.
Women's Day.
Yeah.
When they put Moses in the river, they actually sent him down the aisle in between the audience members, and it looks like he's floating on a river because it's a combination of effects. But yeah, very very well done with screaming baby and everything. And like, at first I thought, was there a real baby screaming?
Yeah,
off
there
to the
was.
side?
Yeah.
And very well timed.
Yeah.
And then fake baby Moses, because I'm sure that wasn't at all. Was also crying, and it worked out very well.
Braids also pointed out the angel of death for the Passover scene.
Very creepy.
We knew how it
That
worked.
one wasn't like, oh, how did they do that effect? Because some of them we're still not sure how they did the snake and a few other things.
Yeah, right. That snake.
There's the snake that went down the
snake.
stairs. Like they lost me on that. I don't know how they did that.
Yeah.
But yeah, the angel of death, I could see how they did it, but it was just very powerful, very effective,
Yeah.
creepy and graceful.
I still don't
at the
know
same time.
how they did the smoke mist that hit each of those houses.
I think that was a projector.
It was just very well done.
Could be.
Of course, the Red Sea, right?
Yeah, and you could tell that was going to be big because they had a scene where all the action happened in the front. They had all the curtains down. It was like all this hustle and bustle back there, I'm sure. And the parting of it was super cool. I could see the coming back together. They were like, look, we can do one of two things really cool. So we're going to do the parting really cool. Use your imagination on the second. We're going to turn the lights down. But it was still pretty cool.
Yeah, the sets in general were just phenomenal. And then sometimes it was genuinely hard to tell what was the set and what was the digital background, because it was blended so well. When Moses and the people were up against the Yam Suf or the Red Sea, that was one of those scenes where it was like, is that a mountain set or is that just more of the back? Okay, they're standing on it so clearly. It's a real set. Yeah, just a lot of really impressive stuff. After exploring the exterior and interior of this home built in 1912, we chatted with the two hosts of our bed and breakfast, and then we headed off to dinner. This looks like a pretty good spot for a dinner.
Well, I would agree.
Nice creek side view. Hey, I love you. I had a delicious spanakopita, and Braids a zesty Greek salad with marinated chicken. A good last meal for the day. And that brings an end to day 2. Next up, in day 3, get ready for some wolves and a train ride.